The musical Sweeney Todd is back on Broadway with Josh Groban in the title role. For Anthony Mason, their meeting was a chance to sit back, if not relax.
You actually took barber lessons for this?
I did. I wanted the shaving community, should they come to this show, to be really impressed.
He's the new demon barber of Fleet Street.
Do you have a razor back there?
You're a risk taker, Anthony. I never leave home without one.
And Josh Groban just learned how to give a close shave.
We would start with the neck, maybe, and then we would turn and we would do your cheek this way.
Is there an art to the decisive stroke?
You know, I'm just winging it. You know, it's really just, this is where the improvisation of theater comes in. I've never given anybody an actual, sharp razor shave, so, you know, we've enjoyed you on television for a long, long time.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you so much for spending your
my last
final
words?
day with us here. That's right. Captured in high def.
Speak to me, friend.
In Sweeney Todd,
Whisper, I'll listen.
the new Broadway revival of Stephen Sondheim's iconic musical.
At last, my right arm is complete again.
Most of his customers don't survive.
You're not known for playing evil.
No, I'm not, which is part of the fun.
Did you come in for a pie, sir? Do forgive me if me has a little vibe.
As Sweeney, Groban has a co-conspirator. Annaleigh Ashford plays Mrs. Lovett.
Heaven knows I tried, sir. But there's no...
On the top, she's just a bubbling little pot of magic, and underneath, it's a stew that's extremely complicated.
And I've got some shepherd's pie peppered with actual shepherd on top.
Mrs. Lovett sweetly disposes of Sweeney's victims in her meat pies.
No will serve anyone, meaning anyone, and to anyone at all.
You know, when you're playing Iago, you don't know you're the bad guy.
That's right.
And so that's always sort of the way that I've viewed Mrs. Lovett.
Yeah.
She doesn't think she's bad. She's surviving. Mrs. Lovett at her core is a survivor.
Yes.
And she needs Sweeney Todd because she's a woman in a man's world.
Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street.
The original 1979 production, which starred Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Lovett and Len Cariou as Sweeney, won 8 Tonys. The unlikely inspiration for the musical was a dark Victorian melodrama, but Sondheim thought it could sing.
You know, the elevator pitch to something like this, you know, in 1977, you know, would have been like, well, have fun with that, Steve. You know, enjoy.
Good luck.
I'll never forget when Thomas Kail told me at an ice hockey game, you know, you should really come to this workshop I'm doing. It's about Alexander Hamilton, and it's a hip-hop musical. And I went, is it a comedy? What's, you know, and I'm kind of, you know, say, good luck with that, you know? Can't wait to see it. I'm sure it'll be great.
Is there a lot of expectation, do you think, with this show?
You tell me.
Thomas Kail, the Tony-winning director of Hamilton, is now directing Sweeney Todd.
You directed the best-known show on Broadway right now, right over there. How does this compare to that?
This was a huge source of inspiration. This was a show about a misunderstood person, and the world was trying to figure out why he did what he did.
Yeah.
The show on the other side of 46th Street doesn't happen unless there's Sweeney Todd.
I know nobody cares to take them. I should know. I make them for good now.
The comic relief in Sweeney comes with a Cockney accent.
It's not easy.
No, it's like speaking another language.
Aren't you also, would you like a drop of ale?
Ashford got tips from the show's British choreographer.
Every once in a while he'll be like, it's budge. It's badge, not budge. Badge. You know, I'm like standing backstage going, badge, 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 badge. My little boy hates it. He's like, will you please stop doing your British accent? And I'm just not correcting him because I think it's too delightful.
You want a painter, poet, sculptor, preferably marble, granite, bronze, durite. miracle.
I have a 6.5-year-old little boy. The last time I was on stage doing 8 shows a week, he was not even 6 months old.
Which also must have been really hard.
It was really challenging. I was nursing.
Yeah.
I'd run off after Act 1 and intermission pump. It was just like, it was just all about milk. 8 shows a week and milk.
The last time Groban was doing 8 shows a week, the singer was making his Broadway debut nearly 7 years ago in Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812.
How much did you like that experience?
It's the happiest I've ever been in my career.
Really?
Yeah. I was a theater kid that hit a fork in the road when I found my way into the music biz. That was not something that I had dreams of in my bedroom when I was 10 years old. It was this.
It was Groban's manager who suggested he play Sweeney.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm not old enough to do that. And he's like, dude, you're gonna be 41. I'm like, oh my God, that is old enough. That's so nice of you, thank you. Oh my gosh, you shouldn't have.
He turned 42 the day we spoke with him.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, dear Josh. Happy birthday to you.
You have the voice of an angel.
No.
Has anyone ever told you that?
No.
It's beautiful.
See how they glisten.
The production had its first run-through a year and a half ago.
And Sondheim was going to be there. He was excited. And 2 days before we were to do that run-through, he passed away.
Did you think at first in that moment that this wasn't going to happen then?
Well, it was a lot of conflicting emotions because the first one, of course, was just grief.
Sondheim had been a fan of the Great Comet, and they'd become friends.
He said to me when we hung out once, I'm not going to tell you when I come to the show. I'm going to do you that solid. I said, Thank you, Steve. And then, of course, at intermission, you know, the group text is, red alert, red alert. The maestro is in the building, you know.
In the end, Groban and company went ahead with Sweeney Todd to honor Sondheim. And also because the star clearly enjoys giving a close shave.
You lean him back and then you send him down the slide.
I let him back, and then there's a third lever that sends him down. It's already fun.